am a speech pathologist by trade, and I work in the medical field. So I love the science behind things, and I love the medical stuff. So I'm a researcher by nature, and this stuff just, I love it. I love knowing the whys and why they work. So kind of go along this journey with me. So if you're a sciencey person, you'll love this. If you don't totally love this stuff and you just say, I love it because it works, I don't really need to know why, that's cool too. Let's see. So first of all, just a little disclaimer, because not all of this is like 100% compliant, because some of it's my story personally. And so just so you know, the content in this class is not meant to cure, diagnose, or treat any of your issues. I'm just telling you what personally has happened to me and then the science behind how the oils actually work. So I don't know about you, but I use lavender and tea tree oil in the past, but I seriously had no idea the power of the essential oils before I started using them. So by a show of hands, how many of you chose to use oils because you were trying to target like some certain issue, like sleep, stress, whatever it was? Okay, that was me, totally me. So I have a heart condition that kind of presented itself when I was in my early 20s and I was studying for my master's degree, and I remember sitting on the couch and all of a sudden I got these awful palpitations, and I looked over to my husband and I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna die, like something's going on with my heart. And then through pregnancy and as I got older, it just worsened, my symptoms worsened. And so I actually was put on a beta blocker, which for any of you, probably nursing people, you know what that is. But basically a beta blocker is something that you take to help regulate your heart rate so that you don't get palpitations. And I also had a really racy heart, so I would feel really anxious, and basically I felt like I was running a marathon all day. So instead of my heart rate being at like 60, it was like at 120 all the time. And so the medications worked for my heart. They did. I was on them for 2 years. But I could have been on their commercial for all the side effects. They made me have super dry eyes that I still deal with today, dry mouth, low energy. I had to take a nap by 10 a.m. and really low blood pressure. So I was having tons of side effects. And probably 2 years in, my husband had gallbladder out. He was battling some depression and anxiety, and we were just done. We were really done with kind of normal kind of medical things. And I work in the medical field, so I respect it, I love it, but it just we knew it was not working for us anymore. So we went to our doctors and said, okay, this isn't working, we need to figure this out. And my doctor was amazing and said, I can't really go into detail about each of these things, but I'm going to give you a list of things that I want you to check out. And so we tried acupuncture, we tried Chinese herbs, and then and the last thing on her list was essential oils. And I honestly was so doubtful. I was like, this is not going to work. So I researched it for probably 6 months. And my husband, his degree's in plant sciences, and so he was a believer right from the beginning. He said, these will work 100% as long as they are good quality. So we researched, and I finally, Leticia had contacted me and just said, hey, you should totally try these, and so I finally, like, okay, I know somebody locally, I've researched them, I know that they're good quality, I'm gonna try them. So, this is my little oil that I love, Aroma Life. Within 2 months, I was able to come off my beta blockers 100%. And so I went to my cardiologist, and because I am a green personality, I had my tracking sheet that had my heart rate and if I had palpitations and what my dosage was for my metoprolol beta blocker, and how I was titrating that down and increasing my Aroma Life. And she was like this. Like, are you kidding me? This really worked? She said, Molly, we're not taught that stuff in medical school. She said, bring me your information because I have so many other patients who could benefit from this. And I think right then I thought, because I didn't even know about the business, honestly. I could have cared less about the business. I was just in it to help some sort of thing, just like many of you. There was something that you wanted to address. And it was empowering, so empowering, to continue to share. So that's why I can't shut up about these oils, because even if this person doesn't listen, it could totally help somebody else. And they just never knew. They never knew. I never knew, didn't know that there were oils that you can literally help your lifestyle. My husband was on, I think, 10 medications. We were spending money every single month on prescription medications, and we literally have not taken anything for 2 years. No over-the-counters, no Tylenol, no nothing. So we all do it through the oils. So I love to tell people all about them and how they can help them. So I want to see who are my science nerds, who loves this stuff. Awesome. So again, some of you are going to love it, and some of you are like, I don't care, it works for me, so that's cool. But here's what I want to tell you. If you are doing the business side of it, whether you're doing the business side of it or not, you are going to have people in your lives that you want to share this information with. And I want you to feel empowered to share this information, because even if you don't know a lot of the science behind it, it's important for you to know a little bit about it, because it's empowering. And so you can back up your claims of why these things work, not just, oh my gosh, deep relief worked for my headache. Why? Why is it working? So you can have a little bit of knowledge about why they work. So even if you're not crazy about this, listen up, because it's awesome. So the real basics of what essential oils are, thinking back from your science classes, basically in plants and in our bodies, we have a bunch of cells, like trillions of cells, and those cells have lots of constituents. And so basically in the plant, the essential oils are the super highly concentrated chemical compounds that come from the plants. And there's hundreds of little constituents within that molecule. And they are produced after photosynthesis. My husband the other day, I was reading him some things, and I said, well, it's the lifeblood of the plant. He goes, Molly, stop telling people that. It is not true. Like, okay, what should I say? So this is way more science. His little explanation was a little more sciencey than what I do. So basically what these constituents do, they help to regulate itself, they help to oxygenate, they help to heal, they help to protect against disease. And because the plant structure is so similar to our structure, that's why essential oils work so well in our body. So just how they heal and protect in plants, that's what they do with us too. So things like fighting infection, there's your bees oil. Things like containing hormone-like compounds like clary sage, prodescence plus. Things that initiate cell regeneration, so that's your frankincense, which we call a facelift in a bottle, because it helps to regenerate your cells in your body. Things like helichrysum that we call liquid stitches, it literally regenerates tissue cells. It helps defend against fungal and viral infections like tea tree oil. And the best part about these, have you guys ever noticed when you use an oil for one thing, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, like I all of a sudden don't have a stomach ache either. You know, it works for so many things. These oils are called adaptogenic. They're amazing, adaptogenic. So the more you use your oils, if you're not using them every day, use them every single day. Use them every day. Because the more you use them, they start to work on things that you didn't even know was wrong in your body. And it's awesome. And the fact that there are no side effects with essential oils, because there's no synthetic part of them, and they work with your body. They work with it. There's no toxins, there's no leftovers, there's nothing that sticks to your cells afterwards that gunk it up. And so basically, your body feels like it knows what to do with itself now. Okay, now we're on to the nitty gritty. This is the stuff I love. I love the brain and how it works and how it controls our body. Awesome. So, just a little different. So, I know that probably most of you know this, but I think it's one of the number one questions I get when people are just beginning. Like, what's the difference between a carrier oil and an essential oil? Because people are like, oh, I have oils at home. Like, does olive oil work? No, olive oil, coconut oil, no. So essential oils are basically, have really tiny chains of molecules, and they're little. And then carrier oils like grapeseed oil or coconut oil, they have larger molecules and they have shorter strains, fatter molecules. And so that's why if you put on carrier oil, it tends to be a little greasier and it doesn't absorb into your skin as well, where if you put on a drop, just a straight drop of peppermint, all of a sudden it's like, boom, gone. It's not that it evaporated all, it literally absorbed into your skin because those little molecules were able to be absorbed into your cells much faster just because of the size of them. So we're going to talk more on size because I think it just blows your mind. Like, the size of these oils are tiny, which is why they're awesome. So volatility. So when I think of the word volatile, like when you guys think of that word, I automatically think of words like unstoppable, not containable, it wants to move around. And so that's what these oils do. So that's like literally when you open up a bottle of peppermint and you can smell it all the way across the room, that's why these oils are volatile, and so they literally jump into the air. We can't see them, but we can smell them. That's like when you're cutting an onion or something, and even though you don't touch your eyes, that oil is going to your eyes because the volatility of the oil is, you're smelling it, it's going within the air. Which is awesome for things like our limbic system. Our limbic system is centered, really in the center, like the middle center of our brain. And so when we smell something, we're going to talk more on this, it literally goes to our brain, which is amazing. So I want you guys just to, like a couple people, if you have any guesses. How many molecules are in one drop of essential oil? Anybody have a wild guess?
It's like 4 trillion million something.
40 million trillion?
40 million trillion.
40 trillion.
Trillion.
Yes.
Yeah.
So 40 million.
40 million.
40 million.
That much.
Yeah, that much. 40 million in one drop of essential oil. That's crazy, right? That's crazy. So they are so tiny. This is important. This is really important. They are so tiny that they can penetrate. They don't just penetrate. I mean, we think of our skin as just this layer. Well, our skin is made up of cells, and our cells communicate with the rest of our body. So when that oil goes to a cell in your body, it can penetrate the cell. It's awesome. So I'm going to tell you just a little about how it works. So the other part about essential oils that are crazy awesome is that it can pass your blood-brain barrier. Now I know you probably all have heard this, and I think some of you just kind of, like me, like take it for granted. Oh yeah, it can pass your blood-brain barrier. Well, what does that mean? Well, basically we have this protective filter that goes to our brain, so it helps to keep out disease, it helps to keep out things, so because our brain, obviously, super important. Essential oils are small enough to pass by that blood-brain barrier. So we're talking, this is why it can affect mood, it can affect emotion, it can affect sleep, it can affect energy. So all those things that are controlled by the central parts of your brain, your limbic system, and memory, all can be accessed by oils. So that's why diffusing is amazing, or just, smelling straight from your bottle has huge benefits for your brain. So just very basically, I think this is important. So let's say this is a cell in our body, and each cell has what we call a receptor site. It's kind of like when you call somebody and they answer the phone. So you have a cell, ring, and your cell wakes up and says, okay, what do I need to do for you today? That cell, here's the crazy part. That cell, when we put on lotions that have a bunch of fragrance and have a bunch of toxins in them, if we burn candles in our house, if we have Glade plug-ins, whatever it is, or if we eat a lot of processed foods, guess what happens to that receptor site on that cell? It is gunked up, and so when that message comes in, that cell either gets a distorted message or it doesn't get the message. And so that's why when we are using essential oils, so when my husband and I decided, we're done with, our lifestyle that we weren't unhealthy per se. We were just, I think we were truly just a victim of just following the crowd of like, we're just gonna go down this path, and we weren't empowered. So that empowerment was, we are not eating processed food as much as we can. We are getting rid of the toxins in our house. So I'm a green and I'm type A, so literally, I had boxes. It's like pulling them all out. Like, we can't use any of this stuff anymore. Now that once you have knowledge, to be empowered to make change is huge. It's huge. So if we think about these cells being gunked up and they can't do the job that they need to do, it invites in disease, it affects our mood, it affects sleep. Our cells cannot function normally. So considering that it only takes one molecule, and there's tons of molecules in those, to open the right kind of receptor site and communicate with the DNA of your body, because every cell in your body has your DNA in it, you can see why just one whiff of an oil, or even putting one drop of oil on your body, has incredible benefits for your mood, for your sleep, just your body function in general. So I want you all to grab your little leaf rollers, your little oil rollers. I want you all to open it up, put it on your wrist, smell it, take a really big whiff of it. Take it in, it's beautiful. You literally just inhaled 40 million molecules that will travel to your brain in 20 seconds. 20 seconds. And because you put it on your wrist, it will now travel to every part of your body within 20 minutes. Every cell in your body. So now, every time you smell that oil, you will not only have a memory of this room and maybe even the people around you, but the feeling you had here, it will invoke emotion and of this time in your life. And so I always say, apply oils when you want to remember something. So apply them to your kids, apply them to your loved ones, to your, if you're older, like your parents who are elderly or whatever it is, apply these oils because it will invoke positive memory in that situation. Okay, we're gonna go a little deeper. Everybody doing okay?
Awesome. You're awesome.
You're so good.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm like, tell me more. I say, Gary Young started talking at convention. I was like, okay, I'm going to learn all about oils. And then he said photosynthesis, and then I was like, ooh. And I'm learning so much right now.
Photosynthesis.
I
know, it's like Science 101, right?
This is so good.
I know.
No, you're great.
That would be my husband's
I'll follow it
definition.
along.
I would have been like, it's the lifeblood of a plant.
I know, me too. We are understanding this.
Okay, good. So we talked about earlier about how essential oils are highly concentrated chemical compounds. So do you all have a pocket reference guide or a desk reference guide, those purple books with the spiral bound? Okay, if you don't, but if you do, when you go to look up an oil in that, like if you were to open up frankincense and look, it has the list of the chemical constituents. Things like, okay, here's the big word, sesquiterpenes, monoterpenes, phenols, D-limonene, those kind of things. Okay, you don't necessarily need to know those specifics, but just know that those are the chemical constituents that have power, and that's why your cells are being affected positively. So they really mean something. They really do something. And I just know the basics of this, honestly. So there are actually 8 major classes of molecules. We're just going to literally touch on the top 3, monoterpenes, sesquiterpenes, and then the phenols. So monoterpenes, they actually go, so remember that cell that I was telling you about that has that little receptor site? So when an oil comes in to your cell, and like let's say frankincense comes to your cell, literally what happens, the oils, what they do is they go to that receptor site and they clean it off. They literally clean it off. And then it flushes the toxins out. And so that cell can function better. And then it also can help to rewrite miswritten communication, like cancer. So for example, the monoterpenes rewrite that miswritten information. So think of things like frankincense, northern lights black spruce, rosemary. There's a whole bunch of them, but these are just kind of the ones that I know you guys would know, just right off the bat. And remember, like frankincense has constituents in a lot of these. So it doesn't, one oil is not just gonna have one, it's gonna have a lot. Remember that word adaptogenic? This is why. They literally have the ability to do so many things. Just like frankincense you can use for calming, but you can also use it for skin. Lots of different things. Next one, just sesquiterpenes. So these particular ones deliver oxygen to your hemoglobin. Your hemoglobin is what, a part of your blood. And it also rewrites miswritten cell information and stops growth and miscoded information. So one thing I've been reading up on is, because I work as a speech pathologist, and I work with people with brain injuries and strokes, dementia, and so I love to research those parts of it and how it can affect my patients, and how I can, I see patients privately also, and often I will use essential oils with them. I can't use them. I don't know if you guys know what Medicare is, but in the States we have Medicare, which is basically the government program once you retire to be able to pay your insurance. I can't do it with that, but with my private pay patients I can use them. But literally, the American Medical Association has said that if they could find an agent or a substance that would pass the blood-brain barrier, they would be able to find cures for things like Lou Gehrig's disease, which is ALS, multiple sclerosis, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease. These are all people that I see every single day. And it's because they can't find anything that works. Well, they haven't looked into it deep enough. But the FDA, well, it's kind of like, what is your Health Canada? Is like our FDA, our Food and Drug Administration in the States. Will not support it because it's a natural product. And so because all the things that they're using cannot pass that blood-brain barrier. But guess what? Essential oils can, remember? So pretty amazing. Now, do I still have mad respect for the medical field? Absolutely, I work in it. Do I think there's a time and place for medications? 100%. But can these be like an adjunct to that? 100% yes. Phenols. These ones clean your receptor sites for improved cell communication. So when that communication can be fluid, guess what happens? Those cells know what to do. You don't get disease, you don't get sick, and even if you get a little bit sick, I'm sure you guys have all experienced this. Even if you got like a little cough and you take your oils, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm feeling better already. Like it just, you can get over stuff faster because your cells know what to do. So things high in phenols are thieves and oregano, and these also tend to be your hot oils. So even things, I mean, you can think about in thieves, there's clove and cinnamon in those, which are also hot oils. So we're going to talk very briefly on the different ways that you can use your essential oils. So aromatically is you're diffusing or even just smelling it straight from the bottle or putting on a diffuser bracelet. And your smell is the only of your five senses that has a direct connection to the brain. The direct connection to the brain. So when we think about memory, or we think about mood, or we think about sleep, or anything like that, just the smell of an oil can have a huge effect on it. So I just want to take you back a little bit. Amy gave me a great idea yesterday, kind of like when you walk into the house and all of a sudden, like you smell cookies and you automatically think of your grandma. Or I remember a few weeks ago I was walking through the grocery store parking lot and this woman passed me by and she smelled just like my aunt. I was like, whoa, just like this flood of memory. And so this is why I love learning this stuff, because for Alzheimer's and dementia and all those, you are accessing a part of the brain that you normally would not be able to. Music, smells, touch and taste are all things that you can access to, in your brain without real conscious thought, which is pretty cool. Very awesome. So topically, so again, we learned that one drop of essential oil to your skin can travel into your system, to every cell in your body, and it's influenced by 40 million of those molecules of oil. So they're kind of like little army men, just trumping in, going through the layers of your skin, traveling to every cell in your body, and they're getting to work, getting to work, getting to work. So there's this really cool phenomenon called therapy localization. So when you put something on your skin, so they say, wherever you're feeling whatever, so if you have a headache, put your oils on the back of your neck, or if your knee is hurting, put your oils there. Anytime that you touch a part of your body with an oil, your brain says, okay, they need help here, and it increases the amount of blood flow to that area, which means you're going to have higher absorption and it's going to travel better. So get those oils on your skin. Oh, and one other thing I know people say all the time. What if I don't know where to put them? You can always put them on your feet. And the reason is because our feet have the largest pores in our body. So if you put them on your feet, it's faster absorption. And so you can't go wrong. Some people say, well, what if I put it in the wrong place? You can't. You really can't, because they're going to be throughout your body in 20 minutes anyway. So you're going to be good. Okay, nobody's saying anything. Ingestion. So in Canada, so in the U.S., we can talk ingestion, and I'm just gonna kind of breeze over this. In Canada, because of health regulations, we can't openly talk about ingesting oils. Wink, wink. However, the vitality oils in the U.S. are safe for ingestion. So you guys can check that out on your own, do some research, get with your uplines who are comfortable with doing this, and get some information. There's a few other resources you guys can write down that talk about this, and I'll go slow. Jen O'Sullivan's book called The Essential Oil Truth. Jen O'Sullivan, The Essential Oil Truth, talks a lot about this. If you don't have your purple reference guide, your pocket reference guide, your desk reference guide, get one. They're on lifesciencepublishing.com, lifesciencepublishing.com, and it's the reference guide for essential oils. Or there's a couple apps. Jen O'Sullivan's app called the EO Bar. EO Bar. It's like $6.99 in the States. And it talks about all ways of using essential oils. So go check it out. Yes, dear?
And I think tomorrow she's having a sale on it.
Oh.
Her birthday, yes.
Oh, did you hear all that? Tomorrow she's having a sale on her EO Bar app, correct?
Yes.
Okay, because it's her birthday. And the books too. So go check them out. I think her Facebook page is the Human Body and Essential Oils.
Right?
Okay, so go check it out.
And Life Science Public Watch, they're right now.
And Life Science Publishing is having a flash sale on their reference guides.
They're out of stock.
And it's out.
Oh, it's out of stock?
It's Discover LSP Canada. There is a Canadian specific website.
DiscoverLSPCanada.com.
I think so, yeah.
Life Science Publishing Canada.
Life Science Publishing Canada. Even if you miss the flash sale, or even if they're out of stock, keep it on your list of checking back and get it. I know you guys probably hear this a lot, but I think that I researched essential oils a lot, and I researched the quality, and I still don't think that we really realize how incredibly blessed we are to have this seed to seal quality through Young Living. I mean, I know some of us probably were never introduced to any other oil, and this is the first one that we were introduced to, this company. And so count your blessings, because they are amazing. So no other company can come close to topping the quality that Young Living has perfected. So over 20 years. They own all their own farms, and this is important because remember all those chemical constituents that we talked about, and how those actually work with your cells. This is why quality matters. So when people say, "Oh, I'm just going to go down to the health food store and pick up, a lavender or frankincense that's like $10, frankincense for $10," they are not going to have the same effect. They won't, because all those chemical constituents, monoterpenes, sesquiterpenes, phenols, all those things are not going to be the same. They won't. So the things that oxygenate your cells and clean your receptor sites, they're not going to work if you don't have good quality oils. So Young Living, literally, they find fertile ground. It's organic. They find the best place for it to grow. And so all those factors all meet their standard quality. It's amazing. And if you don't know, they monitor every step of the process. So from literally the seed to planting to harvesting, weeding it. They weed it by hand. They weed their plants by hand. To distilling it, to bottling it, to testing it, to shipping it out to you. It is all them, which is amazing. There's no third party here and there. Okay, so next up we have Amy Woods coming up, and she's going to tell us, because I don't know,